The gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes on his amendment.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. This amendment is a very simple amendment. It prohibits loans in excess of $1 billion to foreign countries from the Treasury Department's Exchange Stabilization Fund unless approved by Congress. Unless approved by Congress. Now, this is an unusual amendment in that the sponsors come from a wide and broad spectrum of political life. This amendment is being co-sponsored by Mr. Backus, Ms. Kapta, Mr. Rohrabacher, Mr. Kucinich, Mr. Stearns, Mr. Paul, Mr. Visklosky, Mr. DeFazio, Mr. Miller of California, Mr. Evans, and Mr. Stark. And not only are the members who are endorsing this amendment from a wide spectrum of political life, so are the organizations who are endorsing this amendment. They include such unions as the United Steelworkers, the Atomic, Chemical, and Energy Workers, the Unite Union. They include the Americans for Tax Reform, the National Taxpayers Union, the Alliance for Global Justice, the Competitive Enterprise Institute, and many other organizations. Now, why are we all united on this issue? For a very simple reason. And that reason is that the great crisis in American society today is that the vast majority of our people are giving up on the political process. They don't believe that it is worth their energy to vote. And in the last election, 64% of the American people didn't vote. Over 80% of the young people didn't vote. And what this amendment tries to do right here in the United States Congress is to reinvigorate our democracy. It says that if the President of the United States wants to spend more than $1 billion as part of a loan or a bailout, he must come to the United States Congress to get approval. Now, as all of us know, the Exchange Stabilization Fund was originally developed in the 1930s to stabilize our currency. That's what it's done. This amendment leaves that function untouched. The President of the United States can continue to do that. But what it does say is that if the President spends more than $1 billion, he must get the approval of the United States Congress. And once again, this amendment will not in any way restrict the Treasury Department's use of the ESF to stabilize currencies, because currency stabilization is the purpose for which Congress established the ESF. Now, the point here is, as every member of this body knows, that we on occasion spend hours debating how we're going to spend $1 million here or $1 million there. Given that reality, some of us think that maybe we should participate in debates when billions of dollars are appropriated. Now, in recent years, whether it has been Mexico, whether it has been Asia, whether it has been Latin America, in Brazil, the President has acted unilaterally. And I would argue that those of us who believe in the democratic process, those of us who get up here and argue about how we spend $1 million here or $1 million there, have a right to participate in how billions of taxpayer dollars are going. Now, our opponents in this amendment, and they are legion, they are all over the place, no doubt, from both political parties, they're going to say, well, the President has got to act in an emergency. But take that argument to its logical extent. What are we doing here? Are we chopped liver or what? Isn't it time that we revitalize American democracy and get involved in the process? Now, everybody knows that there are great concerns about the global economy, and honest people have differences of opinion about that economy. I have real fears. I have real fears that when a financial problem in Thailand develops, it spreads all over Asia and it affects the United States. It is amazing to me how little this Congress participates in that debate. Jim Colby and I may disagree, but he should not disagree that that debate should take place here on the floor of the House. Has the ESF program worked? Has the IMF program worked? Honest people will have differences of opinion. Let's have that debate here on the floor of the House. So once again, let me inform members of what this amendment does and what it does not do.
Time of the gentleman has expired. Gentleman from Arizona.
The gentleman have one additional minute.
Without objection.
I thank my friend very, very much. So let me reiterate. This amendment is similar to an amendment that was passed in 1995 under which the United States government functioned quite well. Thank you. Functioned quite well. This amendment recognizes the historical and traditional role of the exchange stabilization funds and allows the president to do what presidents have done since 1934. But this amendment says that when you're going to spend more than $1 billion, come to the United States Congress for approval so that the American people can be involved in that process. I thank my friend for the extra time.
Florida.
Mr. Chairman,